He's adorable. What's his name?
We named him Nemo because he's orange.
Aww.
I love it. Don't let him get eaten by barracuda.
What?
Barracudas.
No, I feel
Nemo, yeah, Nemo's mom. Speaking of irrational fears, my daughter had an irrational fear of barracudas for like forever because of that movie. There are no barracudas in Alberta. We were not near an ocean. The barracudas were coming every month, right? Okay, so who are we missing?
Chris isn't back yet.
Oh, Chris. Okay, somebody tag her.
Yeah, and I don't think Brittany's back.
Can somebody tag Chris?
You did.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then I'm on the crack. All right. Okay, so minimum production, okay? So as a sales director, the minimum production that you want to be able to stay a sales director is $2,500 as a team. Wholesale. Now that is not just you, okay? Unless you're doing a really bad job, and then it might have to be you for a few months. Not gonna lie. Sometimes you gotta go to the cannibals, okay? So there are times that you're gonna be like working in the field and you're like working by yourself and you're just like, sweet baby Jesus, somebody's gonna come along and help me, okay? And that's okay. But if you do this properly, that would be so now, $4,500 not gonna get you. Okay, I'm mute everybody. There we go, because everybody's clicking and stuff. There we go. $4,500 in production is not gonna get you any money. You're gonna get paid on your team and stuff, but you're only gonna get paid the minimum amount. That's not fun. You're not gonna get any bonuses or anything else. So $5,500 is where you get money. I mean, you get paid, but you just don't get paid the real money. So $5,500 as a team. That is not just your team. It is your team's team. So if Andrea is on my team and she's my direct recruit, and I'm saying this because she's right below me here, okay? And then Sarah and Lori are below her, and then they're her personal recruits. I get paid on them, and they count. And then let's say Lori recruits Chris, then she's on my personal team, and then Chris recruits Steph. Steph's on my personal, they're all on my unit. They all count. Everybody counts, okay? So it's not just like in DIQ when it's just, it's just like they're coming with you and all of that, okay? So it's really just your team for 70 years down. It's okay. All of it counts. Most directors do not do what I do, which is $2,500 minimum production for myself and my personal people that I recruit that month. But there's a reason that most directors are not top directors. So do you want to be a minimum production director? Just wearing the suit? Or do you want to be a Cadillac director and go to places like Hawaii or Scotland, or you get to stay in a castle in Dublin?
Pink Cadillac, please.
Right? So a pink Cadillac director is going to hold herself to a high standard, which means that she's also going to hold her people to a higher standard, which means they have a higher level to reach. Imagine if I got insanely excited if you guys only did $200 worth of production and all the prizes were for those. Would you work harder to get higher up? If star was 600 and a quarter, would you be like, well, that's okay, I'm going to do 1,800 anyway? No. We rise to where we are told to rise. And that is what a good sales director does. So a good sales director, has a minimum production. But if we started to focus it on actually that we want to enrich as many lives as possible, and that your goal as a sales director is not about your paycheck, but about enriching women's lives and making sure that more women make $200 extra a month or more, that's my goal. That's what gets me out of bed every morning. Is it's not my paycheck. I'm not sitting there on that paycheck calculator going, all right, how could I add a $50 onto this? I need a new pair of shoes. I'm not doing that, right? So your job is to make sure that you're going to be people that are going to be accountable to yourself, but also accountable to your unit, because you want to allow more women to have what they want.
Because that's a little bit more than
Okay.
what you should be
Oh,
doing
sorry,
while you're
Steph.
trying to
I'm
sleep.
gonna mute you. I didn't tell you I was unmuting you. She was like,
Oh.
sorry. I got you. You're good. You're muted now. Okay, so you have control over your own muting. I just muted everybody out at the same time. So as a sales director, you also do have opportunities where it might blow chunks. And you might get a phone call from the company saying, hey, you're not doing your job. Have you ever in your jobs had a conversation with your boss when they were like, not really living up to the standard we had for you? Probably. Did the world end and were you eaten by cannibals?
Almost.
Could feel like that.
I got the crap laid into me. Like, seriously?
Yeah. So Mary Kay's not going to lay any crap into you. They're going to say, so as a leader, there are expectations on a leader. And here's the good news. What they look for is your own personal work. Because they know that there are sometimes things you cannot control. If a tornado hits your town and all your consultants are in your town, or the whole town floods, happened to me, it's a good lesson, and maybe your unit will not do as well as they wanted to that month. It happens. Sometimes you just don't have enough people, and that's usually what it is. So what they focus on then is that they'll work with you. If at that point, they will work with you to say, okay, how many customers do you actually have? How many consultants do you actually have? How many parties are you doing? How many recruiting talks are you doing? Like, what is it that you're doing to make a difference to your unit or in the future of your unit? That is what they're doing. So they're not going to you and saying, well, now your unit's not doing $5,500 in production. Obviously that means you suck, right? They're not doing any of those things. I don't know why I just flipped back over. Sorry. They're not saying that to you. They're saying, here's what you can control. And they're looking for a $600 wholesale order so that you get your 13% check. And they're looking for you to be doing at least one new recruit a month. Who here is already doing almost that? Most of you. Okay. Most of you are already living, and all of you are living with the integrity and values I look for in a sales director. All of you are. There isn't a single one of you that is on this call that I would think, my God, she is only in this for the paycheck and she doesn't care about these women. And when you hear stories that are the cannibal stories, I want you to question the cannibal stories. Question who's telling the story. Question the person telling the story and their values, ethics, and morals. And question what other information you maybe aren't getting from that story. Maybe there were cannibals 100 years ago in that country, and then no one asked any clarifying questions. I remember when I was in directorship qualifications, one of Donna's directors was terminated. And she called me. She was like, don't become a director. They're going to drop you like a hot potato. I had done $9,000 wholesale production as a unit in my DIQ unit. We couldn't count anyone but ourselves and our personals. $9,000 that month. More than like a premier club director. Okay? And I was like, oh, well, and I should quit. Legit. Called Gail to quit. It was almost done DIQ. I had like $3,000 left to go. Okay, and I almost quit. And then she was like, whoa, hang on. Donna called me, Gail called me. They had this huge conference call with me, and they were like, here's the rest of the story about the cannibals. Maybe you don't know she hasn't had a facial in 7 months. Are you all signing up to never do another facial again? She hadn't had a party in over a year. She recruited every single one of her customers and put orders underneath them to become a director. She didn't encourage them to sell. She didn't help them to sell. She didn't help them to do anything. They were names that she put in to the system. She hadn't recruited a single new person since she became a sales director, and they gave her 8 months of not hitting minimum before they terminated her. None of that information was given to me from her because we all like to tell our stories. And when we tell our stories, we don't like to tell the bad stuff about ourselves, right? So she was really, really concerned and wanted to tell me the story. And in her story and in her head, she was saving me from the cannibals. Now, what if I had listened to her and gone to Tahiti? None of you would be here. And all the money that you've made in this business would not be here. Any confidence you built in this business would not be here. Any new friends you'd made in this business would not be here. None of that would happen. I would not be sitting in this house. We would have declared bankruptcy, guaranteed, had I listened to her and not realized that I was better off facing the cannibals. And I looked at that, it was a Zoom call, like one of those, it was like primitive FaceTime because it's 2011, okay? So this is like shaky Skype call, I think. And I looked at Gail and Donna and I was like, all right, I can go to battle with you. And so what I'm asking you is when you had nightmares when you were little and you had fears, who did you turn to? Who woke you up from those bad dreams? That's me. That is my job. So it is my job to look for the monsters under your bed, and it is my job to make sure that you know that there's no such thing as a bull that will take you over a mountain. And it's my job to make sure that you know that it's scarier to show your underwear to people than it is to talk to them. And it's my job to make sure that you know there isn't a witch that's living under there. It's my job to make sure you know that thunder and lightning can't kill people. And if it does, it's pretty freaking rare. And it's my job to remind you of how powerful you are. Because what we also forget when we're talking about nightmares and we're talking about those things is most of those stories are victim stories. They're stories when we have no power. When somebody's breaking into your house in your nightmare, Christy, right? You don't have any power in that story. But what if you were trained to have power? What if you were trained to learn how to counteract those things? What if instead of saying, well, there's no way that that could ever happen, you were actually armed with what to do if that happened? How would you feel? Because it's a lot easier to say, well, that's okay, that's ridiculous. There's no monster under your bed. How many of you have ever had a kid who's got monsters under their bed and knows there's monsters under their bed, and no matter what you say, that doesn't matter, and then you hand them some monster spray? What happens?
They're not afraid anymore.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the fear is. We still fear it. And we know it's ridiculous to fear being unsuccessful as a sales director, but still be unsuccessful as a beauty consultant. We know that. But what we don't realize is that you can be armed with your own monster spray. Okay? What if the people in the boat had decided, all right, cool, so there's cannibals, let's plan for the cannibals. We got a long way to go. Shore's over there, it's 1,000 meters away. We got time. Let's figure it out. How are we fighting the cannibals? We don't have anything. Let's figure out some weapons. Maybe they might fish for something and take the spines of something. I don't know. What if they said that? And then they got to shore and realized there weren't any cannibals. They'd be better armed. So what if you went into DIQ and into this concept of directorship, even just the thought of directorship? If you're far away from that thought, that's fair. Okay? And realize, by the way, if you're in this call and you have no caring about being a director at all, I don't even mean that. Translate it to whatever you mean it to mean. A red jacket, whatever. Okay? Making some money is really the goal here. Changing women's lives. So what if you could say, all right, cool, then I need to be armed with ways to counteract this. I need to know that new directors fail first. They are more likely to fail than any other director. It's true. Why? I need to know why, and I need to fight it in DIQ so it's not going to happen to me. Wouldn't you feel better being armed with your own monster spray than feeling like, yeah, she says it's not going to happen, but it could happen, and I know it's going to happen, and then allowing yourself to be sabotaged by it? So when we think about the monster spray or about those things, let's think about it in terms of Mary Kay. What does that mean? It means ending DIQ with 5 new beauty consultants that haven't placed an order yet.
Ending DIQ or entering DIQ?
Ending it.
Oh, okay.
Even entering it, sure, but ending it for sure. That by the end of your directorship qualifications, you have 5 new people to work with that you have not exhausted for their orders. Imagine if you had 5 new agreements, like they had just signed up. They're all excited. It's the 28th of the month. You've got them on their 30-item selling challenge. Do that math. That's 5 people on 30 items. That's $600 in sales. They're going to roll their profits in so they can do the ready, set, keep selling and ready, set, sell. That's $3,000 in wholesale production. Yes? That's not your only team.
Yeah.
So then you're going to add your 600 in minimum. And you still have customers, and you're building customers through DIQ, and you forget this. You forget this. Your customer count is probably going to double in this time period. Because you're on a mission. And when you're on a mission, you're going to do more parties and you're going to do more things. And then as you do more things, that means you have more customers. That's how it works. Because all the people aren't going to sign up. No matter what. Yes? I tried real hard today with 5 of my customers that they did not want to sign up. I don't care. That's cool. All right. So they're not going to sign up. So then you've got new customers to work with. So you're going to do 600 no matter what. Without rolling your profits in. Like a real genuine 600. Okay. So you're going to do your 600. You've got $3,000 from these new people that you're excited to work with. Because remember, you're excited and new people are exciting. And then all that's left is $1,400. So your team was already doing almost $5,000 every single month in DIQ. Without all that. So don't you think you'd be just fine? Yes? So can we start to plan for these things? Start to arm ourselves with that monster spray and start to do what good entrepreneurs do, which is plan for failure. Plan for fear. Instead of saying it doesn't exist. Maybe other directors fail, but I won't. La, 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 la. That's the skirt over the head. You're showing everybody your underwear. Okay?
That's going to be your new catchphrase.
I love it. I love it. I love it because we know that that's what's happening, right? When we don't face the fear, it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And we're victims to it. And then we end up dying of starvation in a boat. I don't want that to happen to you. And I also really, really, really want you to remember that you may think you're going to let that team down. But what if you got more scared of all the women you're letting down by not taking a risk? What if you got more scared of the hundreds of women that you could change their lives for? That you won't even know their names yet. What if you got more scared about being that person, not being the person you needed to be? Because it's in you. And all of those people are there and they don't even know it yet. They have no idea what they're missing. They have no clue. Did you? Did you have any clue? And if I came up to you and said, you know what, sorry, Christy, you're terminated as a beauty consultant. How would you feel if I took it away?
I'd be so sad.
If I took away that opportunity for you to be a beauty consultant, whether you do a little or a lot, to get your products at half price, to be part of the group, to feel like you at least learned something new about product, anything. What if all of a sudden you logged into Facebook tomorrow and there was no more Thompson's Transformers? And there were no more people in our team. And there was nobody to interact with about Mary Kay and nobody to sell to. And you got a bill and you couldn't pay it. And you didn't have a way to do that because you had to go talk to your boss for an advance or go get a payday loan. How would you feel? Now imagine being so scared to make those other women feel that because they don't even know they're feeling it. You've already taken it away by not taking this risk. You've already failed them. They need you. They 100% need you. I'm not in this for the paycheck, you guys. And I honestly, we could survive with me doing very, very little as a director anymore. We've created a level of momentum and enough people in the team. 30% of the team would order if I did nothing. Nothing. No prizes, no promotions, no meetings, no training, nothing. I would probably still get a paycheck of $3,000 to $5,000 depending on the month and when stuff launched. Go ahead, Selena. You're playing with the cat. Sorry. I thought you were raising your hand. Okay. So I could do nothing and still get a pretty good paycheck. That doesn't fill me up with joy. That doesn't make me excited to work. I don't work for the paycheck. And they don't want you working for the paycheck because when the paycheck isn't good because you didn't do your job, you're going to think like you should fail or that you should quit. But what if you could change it to I'm working for these women so that they can handle their fear and they're going to be better women because of me. And I'm going to be learning how to be a better woman in the process. What if you could think that way? What if you could think that everything I do right now leads me to something bigger than myself? So the best way to counteract fear is to be armed for it, to know that you're not a victim to it, to name it, to understand the story, and to imagine it all. Not just the most scary thing that could happen, but all of it. Imagine right now the thought of not making those women happy in their lives in the future. Imagine that as a fear too. Because it's not fair to be only scared about what would happen if you failed as a director. That leaves you dying in a boat. And if you've just tuned in, there's a big story behind that. Sorry, Robin, but there's more there. Okay. She's like, dying in a boat? Who's on a boat? I'm on a boat. Okay, so real quick before I let you go, I'm going to read you some of the other myths and fears about being a sales director that were shared in this group. Okay. Once I'm a director, I don't get to sell or do faces anymore. Anybody else have that myth or fear? I was mine. I told Gail I didn't want to be a sales director because I really like to sell. She's like, what? And it took me a long time to tell her that. That was the witch under my bed I didn't want to tell her about. She was like, are you on the crack? Like, a national doesn't sell anymore. Cool. A sales director sure as heck does. I love to sell. Love to sell. Okay. That we're perfect. You have to be perfect to be a director and that nothing normal happens to us. You guys, Sandy Campbell, national sales director, lost her husband yesterday in a freak skydiving accident.
Wow.
Nothing happens to us. Everything happens to us. And we're going to watch her deal with this with grace and dignity and through all of the things that she's learned through being a director and a national sales director in Mary Kay. And Sandy Campbell is the one who used to say all the time, you're either in a crisis, leaving a crisis, or about to have a crisis. And she's going into a crisis. And it's not fair, you guys, because she was abused so badly by her former husband before him. So badly, he broke every bone in her body. And it's not fair. And it sucks. But he was a very successful lawyer in Kelowna, and she could be very, very happy living with a very successful lawyer and thinking a man is a plan. Good thing she isn't. Good thing she's a national, because a man is not a plan. That it's stressful and we have no life. This is a big myth I always try to counteract. I really hope you guys see me living. Do you see me living? Please say you do. If you don't, please tell me, Carol, I think you work too hard. Because I'm going to make sure you come move in with me for a while. I really try really hard not to work too hard. Now, I do have to confess that I have a little bit of workaholism because I really do like to work. You guys, do you really like to work? If you really like to work, you might understand this. Like, I really love what I do. So then to me, it's like, why would I take a break from that? I like it. It doesn't feel like work. So there are some times that my kids are like, shut the laptop. But I do like to work hard and I do like to play hard. Okay. So I like all those things. And you can choose how you want to be a sales director. And that's something else that's a myth that you need to counteract in your head, or a fear maybe you have. Not every director has to be a Cadillac sales director to have value and merit. Not every director has to be a top 10 director to have value and merit. Your worth has nothing to do with the size of your team and your production. Okay? So there are directors that work full-time jobs and they stay at about the, Grand Achiever to Cadillac or to Premier Club level in car terms. Okay? They're very happy getting $3,000 a month and a free car every month. Not a free car, you know what I mean, but a car paid for. Yes? That's great. There is nothing wrong with that. Just the same as there's nothing wrong with a student that tries their best and still gets C's. True happiness comes from living up to what it is we want. So I wouldn't be happy like that because I always wanted more, but there's nothing wrong with only wanting that. And there's no only involved, okay? That directorship is a hobby or a retirement, that we don't have discouragement or disappointments. We definitely do. We're just taught more how to handle them. And I think that that's really cool because our meeting's ending in 10 minutes, so we're going to leave it in 10, okay? So just somebody watch it so that we get a chance to say goodbye, okay? So that we do get disappointments. We do want to quit sometimes. People will disappoint us. It happens. My job is to make sure that I have enough people in my team that if somebody chooses to disappoint me, it doesn't make or break my business. So what's your monster spray? A big unit. A big unit. That's your monster spray. Okay, bye, Selena. Okay, so that's the magic. Only 30% of your unit will order. Unless you're like doing a lot. Or you have a brand new unit or like a brand new bunch of beauty consultants. Or it's a fall launch or whatever. Or it's June. Most of the time it's only 30%. So when you know that math, that's your monster spray. Go get new people. There's people. There's lots of people. All right. That you get to go to lunch all the time with other directors and that your team only just works for you. I think we do get to go to lunch a lot. True story. That we should spend all our commission check on prizes. That's a big one. Anybody else have that fear that our cost to run our business is going to be higher than what we're making? Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one for you to know. Okay, so here's your monster spray involved in that. I will never let you, now you can choose to, because I don't actually have as much control over you as I would like to, but I will never let you spend more than 5% of your projected earnings on a prize. So that means that if you were going to earn $100 from them doing that level of production, then you would only spend 5% of that. Okay? There are directors that spend more than that and then they're out of money and they don't know why. Crazy. So on your nightmare repellent. If there's a mistake to be made, I've already made it. So I'm here. We'll help you, okay? So it's really just 5%. There's ways to do it really easy and really smart. And here's the good news for you. When you are as a new director, whether you're adopted or not, I don't care, okay? But as a new sales director, you can choose to run your own sales programs and your own directorship programs and your own like prizes and stuff, or you can just follow mine. And then I'll make sure you know exactly what costs are and everything else, okay? You can leave it for a while till you're ready to do it. You don't have to do it. Does that make you feel a little better? I don't spend a ton of money on prizes. If I do, it's very strategic, and strategic's one of my top 5 Gallup strengths, so like I'm good with strategy. That means I won't spend a bunch of money, and then I will because I know this is why. Double up, I'll spend extra, you know, things like that, okay? There's a method. I've been all the places, okay? That I don't have to work full circle, that what other ones are in here? There was one in here. Oh, that you can easily lose directorship. I think we covered that. And that other one was that we have to know all the answers. And that was Lori's fear as well, right? That we have to know everything, that we have to have all this training, that we only know, like we are magically gifted with all of this. I don't know where that thought process comes from. But what do you think is the counteraction to that? How do you think you plan the training as a new director? Come on. What do you think you do?
Think of things that you don't know yet, so you research it to teach us.
Yep, that's a good one. You research it first so you can turn around and teach it. What else? That would be appealing to you, Steph, because you genuinely like to learn.
Yeah.
Right? So then keep that thought. That's your monster spray. I like to learn and I like to reteach what I learned. So I'm going to be excited about this.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anybody not like to learn? You're like, my brain is already too full. Don't make me learn anything. It's okay. Then what could you do?
Talk to your director.
You can copy a cat as long as you copy the right cat.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Do you get information from corporate?
Oh, yes, we do. In fact, we get a whole book that teaches us exactly what to teach at every meeting in our first year. Did you know that?
Oh, I like that.
I didn't even open it.
Oh.
But you can. So if that's appealing to you, great. I really was excited to teach, but that's my thing, right? That's my word. So figure out what your word is. Figure out why you want this. What's your word? Mine was always to educate and inspire. Those are always my 2 words. And then anything I can do that gets me doing that makes me happy. And that's where true happiness comes from. Find out what you love to do and then just do it. And figure out how you can do it in a Mary Kay way. You love to meet new women? Go meet new women. You love to learn things? Then go learn. I love to learn. I love it. I have a TED Talk playing every day. I love a new TED Talk. Love it. There's some really bad ones out there, but I love when they're good, you know, and I get really excited about them. And they give me new things to teach and new ways to teach you. But there's always a new way. There's always old ways too. Here's the other thing. Your unit, just like your skin, will exfoliate. And you got a whole bunch of new skin. We have new skin people in here right now, right? We got Robin and Jen and Katie. Steph's relatively new skinned, you know? She's new. Stephanie Alfieri, you're relatively new skinned, you know? We got new people. They haven't heard you. They haven't seen your prizes. They didn't know about Full Circle before. So it's brand new information, and all of a sudden you're all gifted with this amazing knowledge that you've taught already. Okay? This is not new, and it's not rocket science, and we don't sell insulin. We just sell skincare and opportunity and hope, and it's super easy, you guys. So you can go out and get this done, and I know you can. Do not limit yourself to think that you are not able to go to Orlando because you didn't enter DIQ October 1st. That's garbage. Get rid of it. Get rid of that thought. November and December, tons of people finish DIQ in 1 month or 2. And they've minimized the production requirements, so come on, you can do this. I love you guys. I'm going to unmute you all so you can all say goodbye. Unmute. There you go. So if you were muted, you're not muted anymore. Everybody say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Night, ladies.
Can you hear Willow barking to get in? She's like, "Row, row, row, row." She was barking we gave her corn cobs after dinner, and she had her corn cob in her mouth. You know how you give your dogs corn cobs? They love them. Anyway, she got the corn cob in her mouth, and it's bigger than her. And she's like, "Row, row, row, row." Like, ridiculous. She doesn't scare anything, and you don't have to be either. Love you guys. Bye.
Night, Carol.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Bye.